Page 222, number 61. Solve the exponential equation algebraically. So we need to solve this for x. Now we can see since we have x as a power, as an exponent, we're going to have to take the log of both sides at some point. And since we're dealing with e, we're probably going to use natural logarithm. But before we get to that point, what we have to do with this problem is factor. And I'm just going to write a similar problem over here on the right-hand side. So I'm going to write y squared minus 4y minus 5 equals 0. And we could solve this by factoring the y squared minus 4y minus 5 as y minus 5 times y plus 1, and setting that equal to 0. I would then set both of these equal to 0 and solve for y. In this case, I would get y equals 5, and I would get y equals negative 1. Now, the reason I ran through that process is because we're going to solve this equation the same way. We're going to factor, set both sides equal to 0, and solve for x. So first of all, factoring. Now, the nice thing is I can follow the same steps I did over here on the right. So factoring this, I'm going to get, let's see here, e to the x power minus 5 times e to the x power plus 1. And that equals 0. So now I can set both of these equal to 0 and solve for x. So my first one, I'll get e to the x minus 5 equals 0. Second one, e to the x plus 1 equals 0. To solve this first one for e to the x, I can add 5 to both sides. E to the x equals 5. For the second one, subtracting 1 from both sides, I get e to the x equals negative 1. Now at this point, to solve for x, we need to take the natural logarithm of both sides. So if I take the natural log of both sides here, and right away I'm going to move that x out in front, that gives me x times the natural log of e. Now natural log of e is equal to 1, so I'm not going to write that part, is equal to the natural log of 5. Okay, there's one of my answers. I'll figure out what that is as a decimal in just a bit. Same thing on this one. I could take the natural log of both sides. That will move this x out in front. Natural log of e is equal to 1, so I'll get x times 1 equals the natural log of negative 1. Okay, let's get a decimal approximation of these answers. So I'm just going to type in the natural log of 5. So x is about equal to 1.609. And let's find the natural logarithm of negative 1. Hey, I got an error for that. What's going on with that? Natural log of negative 1. Well, we can't take the logarithm or the natural log of a negative number. So anytime we get a natural log of some negative quantity, that will give me a non-real answer. So I've just got one solution here. X equals 1.609. And again, I can check that by plugging that in here in place of x. I can say e to the 2 times 1.609 power minus 4 times e to the 1.609 power minus 5. And that should be equal to 0. Since I rounded my answer, it's going to be approximately equal to 0. And it's pretty close, so I can trust that this answer is correct.